Now, when it comes to the credit card points and miles game, there are a lot of things that come with it. Some cards have annual fees, some cards have credits, some cards have, daily multipliers on certain things. But one thing that at least a lot of us in this community really share in common is we all end up having welcome offers. At least if you're doing it right, your card will come with a welcome offer. And while at the moment I thought it would be a little bit, topical to talk about how I have three, count them, let's see if I can really show them off, but three different welcome offers that we're working on at the moment. And I wanted to go through, I guess, some of the things that I'm doing right now to manage these three separate welcome offers, and also maybe give some ideas to some people who maybe to the less obvious things that you could do that you may not even realize to be able to hit welcome offers, going forward for a lot of these different credit cards. Whether you're keeping these credit cards for 10 years or just 1 year, this can definitely, I think, be beneficial for some people. We got Sean in here. What's going on? Jordan, what's popping? Mike Newell, let's go already. I know I always switch the time. So, at least at the moment, I figured this would be actually a good follow up from a few weeks ago when we talked about like taxes and doing your taxes and how much we're going to owe. And oddly enough, for anybody who was following through some of those streams or those videos, I was theorizing. I don't know how I did this, that I was going to be paying way more taxes than I actually ended up doing. I think in a lot of videos, I was estimating around $5,000 in taxes. That was based on income times a certain percentage and taking off some write offs. But what I didn't realize is I actually had way more write-offs than I ever imagined, thanks to my new software that tracks all of it. And so I really didn't have to pay that many taxes, which means I had way less money to spend anyway to hit some of these welcome offers. So one thing in particular, so I guess taxes. This is the first year that I actually filed joint with my wife and I, which means our taxes were bundled together. So together we owed about $600 after write-offs, after standard deduction, all of those different things. And we ended up putting that right on my Hilton Surpass card. So right on the Hilton Surpass, cool. $600 out of the $3,000 minimum spend that we have to hit over the next 6 months. And I have two of them, so that would be $6,000. And then I also have this venture card as well that I'm, maybe halfway at this point as well. Basically, in the span of 1 month, I have accumulated close to, or I would say, $8,000 in minimum spend to hit. And some people might say, "Oh, that's too crazy. That's impossible to hit." And some people might say it's a little bit easier. So the first thing, before I go into other things that I'm going to be doing and theorizing that I'm going to be doing, is taxes. So number one is taxes. Some people know, still some people don't. But yes, you can go online, pay your taxes to hit some welcome offers. Not everyone owes taxes. It's usually the W-2 folks. I remember those days. But for anybody self-employed or certain brackets, you can be hit with some tax bills. So luckily, it wasn't $5,000. I was really expecting to be hit with much more, but $600, I guess, was something. Which oddly enough, I think ended up being less than last year somehow. It doesn't even make sense. But another thing that I'm doing that some people might not realize, and this was after talking to CPAs, making sure everything's correct, is that a lot of people, they hear quarterly taxes for their business. And they're like, oh, you got to pay your quarterly taxes. Every quarter you got to put it through. And I think for a lot of accounting purposes, it makes sense. I think it, allows for, at the end of the year, you're not being hit with something so great, especially not, if you're not doing like insane in your business, just like smaller businesses like mine. And so one thing that I've found over time is that the only time you really get hit, and of course, consult your CPA if you want. But the only time you actually get hit with penalties and charges, like if you, on your quarterly taxes, most people think that it's like, oh, if you miss a quarterly payment, you're going to be hit with taxes. But after you actually go into it, uh, what the CPAs say is that by the end of the year, if you owe more than $1,000 on your taxes, so if you get there end of the year, April, whatever, and they're like, oh, you owe $1,001, then you would be hit with a certain penalty. There's a percentage on it. I don't actually know the exact numbers, but in my mind, after talking to him, because you could be, when we're in the points of miles game proper, we start getting a little bit crazy. We start thinking about ways to scheme and ways to hit welcome offers. So I was like, okay, so wait a second. Theoretically, if I just have to owe less than 1,000, does that mean I not have to pay quarterly? Could I just wait until the last quarter, like the end of the year, and then pay like a lump sum amount? So instead of like, if they say do $500 a quarter, so this way you owe basically nothing at the end of the year. Theoretically, I could just wait until the last, the last month and put $2,000 towards my quarterly payments. So this way I owe less than 1,000, whatever, it depends on your situation. So you got to do the math on what you're making, what you project to make in the future, but you could just wait. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to wait until the end. And it's actually kind of what we did this year. Throw in, a full $2,000, and that could be another welcome offer on a card at that time. So instead of just the smaller money, the 500 every quarter, of course you could put that towards other cards, but I just see it as like one more lump sum payment you can make at the end of the year, and make things a lot easier, right? The next thing on that, which I'll talk about in a second, but I just want to say, Mr. Tom G, 250. Appreciate you, Tom. Thank you for being here. 250, such a specific number. Is there something that you want me to buy with 250? There must be something. Well, I mean, after YouTube's cut, it's like $1.20 or maybe less, to be honest. So whatever whatever I could buy for a little over $1, let me know. And you know what? Maybe I'll just do it. Maybe we'll go to Five Below or something. Although Five Below isn't even $5 anymore. It's like $10, $20, if they're even around. But thank you, Tom. Seriously, thank you, Tom, for being here, man. I appreciate you. And doing that super chat, man. Much appreciated. Chaz Money Minutes. He says, yo, Chaz Money Minutes. And we got Terrell. What's going on, Terrell? Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Easter. That's right. Wait, is it? Oh God, this is bad. Is it actually Easter or is tomorrow Easter? I was talking to my wife. I was, she's like, you don't know anything, huh? Is it Easter today or is tomorrow? It's Easter Sunday. But is Easter like multiple? It's so bad. Growing up Catholic, eh? Yeah. So I'll just, we don't need to figure out the semantics of it. Just Happy Easter. How about that? By the time you're watching this tomorrow, it's Happy Easter. Enjoy. Have a good time. Eat a lot of food. Work out if you can. Do all those things. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Sunday's Easter. But yeah, I'm in the late. I mean, unless you guys are in England, or somewhere in Europe, a few hours ahead. What's going on, John? What's popping? What's going on, Boxer? What's up, Anthony? Phil? Hey, man, we were just filming earlier. Let's go. Oh, damn. Phil, you got that scuba diving gear on. That's wild. I haven't seen that one yet. Sonny Money. What's going on, Sonny? How you doing? Woodsy. Hey, yo. What's going on, Woodsy? And I think that was that everybody? I think that's everybody. Oh, Jordan. I missed that. The Venture After Dark. Let's go. What is going on? And Boxer, I mean, it's called Easter Sunday, so most likely it's, yeah. I mean, Boxer, thanks. You don't have to, you don't have to be a D about it. Come on, just kidding. So let me see. Tristan says, I can't see myself wanting to manage more than 5 credit cards at a time. Hey, you say that now, Tristan, but wait. A couple of years will go by, you start looking around, you'll be like, oh, I can manage a couple more. Yeah, about a couple more. Eventually now you have, I need to actually count mine again. I think it was like 20 something, 20, maybe I feel like it's like 23 now for just me, but we'll have to see. Jehovah, do you just say hi? Well, it'd be fancy to have a Jehovah in the house for Easter Sunday. Let's go. Yeah, I say hi sometimes. Let's do credit cards. Let's do it, Jehovah. Give us some talks too. All right. So the first thing was taxes. So I think that was one of the more enlightening things that I've learned this year. It was like, okay, the only way you get penalties is if you owe more than 1,000 at the end of the year. So why not just wait, lump sum the tax payment, and then you can hit some welcome offers. Cool. And some of these things I'll talk about today are also things that I'm either doing or have done in the past, or maybe will do in the future. So also one of the things that I think most people don't, I think, even though I feel like a lot of people know this, they don't take advantage of it. And the next thing is just as simple as rent. I mean, I feel like I still talk to a lot of people who are like, well, I don't want to put, credit cards, for the rent. I just want to do my bills card, so I have no fees. But I mean, like, I understand if there's like, hardship and stuff like that. But at least in my case, last year, I did nothing but put my rent spend on credit cards. I did nothing but that. The entire year, for those of you who are following, was the ink train for life. Every single quarter, I had a new Chase Ink card where I was just putting, the rent towards that. And I was getting charged the 3% fee. After the fee ended up being like $1,550 every single month. So like every 3 months, you're putting in, $4,700, something like that. Very, very easy to hit welcome offers in that way. And I still think there's a lot of people, even in this community, who are like they don't want to get hit with that 3% fee. I guess in my example, I was being hit with like a little over $30 a month. So then, I mean, at the end of the year, right? Yeah, I'm doing the math. It was 15, and went to 15, 50. Ended up being like, yeah, $45 a month. Times 10, that's 450. Plus 90, so $540 extra on my fees at the end of the year for all my tax payments, but we ended up earning like 500,000 chase points from all of the ink cards. It's like it's not even comparable. I mean, if you care so much about, okay, cash out 50,000 if you really care that much, for $500 cash at 1 cent per point. But in my opinion, if you're renting and you're not taking advantage, especially if you're in this game, unless it's hardship and stuff like that, I get it. But it's just like, oh man, it's just such easy money. It was so much easier when you have rent and it's guaranteed and you're good, and you can just keep cycling it. That's why a lot of people are looking forward for built and allowing for mortgages and getting those other premium cards. Which I'm interested to see when that's ever gonna when are we getting a built mortgage card, right? And then you can use some of your other cards and stuff like that for for the mortgage payments. And actually, Ninja just came and says. New built paying with a credit card, a great way to use this for welcome offers and net positive without unnecessary spend. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I don't know if you guys saw the new, actually, I don't even think I got the email. I just read the email from the Discord. So, Ninja, you're a little special. You send it, Anchor's sending you direct emails, but it said something like the, something like, what was it? If you use a card other than American Express, yeah, you'll earn like two build points, per dollar, or one build point, and then you earn from the card itself. Essentially, making it, for the most part, net even, given a 1 cent per point cash out by using a card other than built, as opposed to like the fees and stuff like that. So it's definitely even better than it was. But even without that, I'll take a 3% fee all day to hit more and more welcome offers. Otherwise, if there's none, yeah, just do your normal, checking account or something like that, for sure. Let me see. Uh, right. Box says, trust it. Then you'll be the simplest like me, instead of ton of cards, a ton of different setup. Yeah, that's very simple, Boxer. Sunny Money, I'm running Biz Gold welcome offer. Yeah, you hit that really wait, Sonny, you're the one that I know there's two of you in there that are hitting it, but one of you hit it faster than the other. You like ran up some crazy spend somehow. How did you do it? I'm running up the Business Gold welcome offer and Gold upgrade offer, and I'm almost done them both. I think I'm going to run CSP and Boundless offer at the same time. So you had like $12,000 in minimum spend requirements in like 3 months, right? That's yeah, it's 3 months, right? So that's pretty wild. Carlos says, for me, life just happens. Then I get a new card or two, where taxes or other expenses. Yeah, there's other expenses and whatnot like that. 521 Type A. What 0% APR will give you the largest available credit? Huh. That's a good question. What 0% APR card will give you the largest available credit? I'm trying to think, because the first thought obviously is any Amex credit card will give you a very high limit, but I don't think they frequently offer a 0% APR. Obviously last year I was actually able to float a little bit via a 0% APR while money comes in and whatnot. So I was allowed to float that rent payment just a little bit on 0% because you have it for 12 months, and those limits are not bad on the chase inks. I mean, for most people, you'll end up getting your first one. It's like 5K, nothing too crazy, but like a 5K limit, I would say. Otherwise, I'm not too sure about limits and the highest percent. Phil says, no rent here, so I pay my kids' rent. Well, actually, I forgot who I was speaking to. Um, Actually, I know who I was speaking to. This guy named Daniel. He's in the community as well. He actually, yeah, he has daycare, and I think the daycare is around uh, yeah, I think it's around $2,000 a month. I feel like it could be a little bit more. Um, and he's a great guy. I met up with him once, and he mentioned like, yeah, just basically in some cases you can. I think there's in some cases daycare. I think maybe Chad was mentioning that you can prepay your daycare expenses. Like if anybody has that, I mean that's 2,000 a month. That's a whole nother rent. It's an insane fee for daycare. So 2,000 every single month. If they take credit cards, if you can kind of like push them on it to get it done, it's also a very easy way to hit welcome offers, 100%. Jehovah, you subscribed, you're sold. Let's go. Just if you're not in the community though, just make sure that everything we talk about, we're talking about like paying off balances, no debt whatsoever. This is solely the game of getting a card, getting the welcome offer, using it for vacations in the future. If you're accruing debt, you're not doing it right. So that's the main mantra I would say, for sure. Phil says, I'm really thinking about the Mesa card, but it doesn't have a sub. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess since it's now, right? Like if build came out tomorrow, would anybody be interested? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'd be interested to see. And Philip says, is there a larger gold upgrade offer than the 30K one? Thinking about waiting if so. Do you mean gold to platinum or um do you mean green to gold? As far as green to gold, I think you mean green to gold at 30K. I feel like I've not seen anything higher. The only time I see like crazy elevated is gold to platinum at like 100K, 125K. But seems to be those definitely some high spenders for sure. I've yet to get any. 50K was always the highest on the upgrade offer, um, but I've seen 125K for sure. So that could be powerful. Jesse, hi all. Don't forget if you have a W-2 job that has direct deposit, you can do checking account subs. Oh yeah. The only thing that I never liked with that is like sometimes it was really annoying to change the direct deposit. It was always so freaking annoying. In certain cases. Even like for YouTube, like it would be great if I could throw a YouTube paycheck straight into there, but I just don't want to mess with it. Like there's a whole separate section on Google that's like, oh, here's your AdSense account, and you change it there. I'm sure it's easy, but every time I go on there, I'm like, I don't know if I want to mess with this. Then a payment doesn't go through, and then it's impossible to get anybody on the phone. But I agree. If you can change the W-2, actually, my brother-in-law did that recently. I was like, bro, use my link for the Chase checking account. You deposit, you deposit three. Is it? Yeah, I think it's 300, and you'll get. No, you deposit 500, and you get $300 for just a personal checking account. Insane. Deposit 500, get 300 back. Because initially I thought it was more. It was like a couple grand, and then he was like, "No, I got the account bonus already." So like, if you don't have it, man, check out in the description. I got a Chase checking account referral too. Hit up, direct deposit 500, get 300 cash. I mean, that's easy. That's easy money all day. So good point, Jesse, for sure. Jordan says, Sonny's been paying for my wedding to hit his subs. You guys should link up. Help each other out, pay for each other's weddings. Jordan, I also want to know, no one's asked this before, but are we all invited to the wedding? I mean, what's the deal? I mean, we're all friends now. I mean, you just know us, recently, but come on, let's get an invite. Sonny. So he says, bought everyone's plane tickets for our Disney trip, round trip, which is a great chunk, plus parents and sisters' bills, plus tuition, plus other hacks like that. 100%. Love that you mentioned tuition. I had that written down too, because I remember when I was speaking to Sherwin from the BS podcast. Those guys are amazing. He talked about how because wait, does he go to Stanford? Yeah, yes, he goes to Stanford. Sean went to Berkeley. So he went to Stanford, very expensive. And he said the same thing. He would just pay his tuition with the credit card. I think they sometimes had fees. I'm not sure. I actually had a very short but painful story about tuition and college and stuff like that. But for those who aren't aware, I went to college for a year. And it's definitely not a talking about college video, but I did college for a year, and it was like a small community college, and at the time, I had just, I think I was just in the credit card game, just kind of getting into it. So I had my first 4 cards, something like that, nothing with crazy limits. And even though I had cards like the Quicksilver where it gave you like 1.5% cash back, I didn't even have a thought to put it on a credit card. And this is why I think this can be valuable, even though I'm kind of preaching to the choir tonight. But I think it could be valuable for the VOD and the people who watch this after the fact. Is like, you may not even think about all the different ways you can hit welcome offers on cards, or at least reap some benefit from the money you're spending anyway. Like a lot of these things aren't fees. Like in my case, those tuitions probably wouldn't have had any fees. I could have gotten 1.5% cash back, and I only paid for a year and then I dropped out. But that's my story. But you know, I ended up spending $8,000, no less, on a Santander debit card. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's really crazy. I mean, $8,000. I mean, that's an Ink preferred. What are we doing? What are we doing? You know, when I was 20 or 21, I should have gotten the Ink preferred. I didn't have a business, but I should have got it. Something that I could have put $8,000 worth of tuition in that year instead of on a debit card. In my mind, though, I was like, I have the cash. Let me just pay it now, so I don't have to think about it. You know, for 6 months. You know, 4 grand, and then another 4 grand after 6 months. You know, but you don't know that, you know, early on. So that's why I think this can be helpful for those folks. So it's like, if you have tuition, if you know, if you're not paying any crazy fees, and you know you're not going to be like delinquent with it, or you're just going to put it on there and like, oh, I'll pay it later, and then you never do. Yeah, that's not great, you know, because you know, I think, well, yeah, I guess that's tuition fees and different from a loan, but because I understand some people just have loans that they'll pay off like in the future and they like don't owe on it for years, which is kind of crazy. But no, good point that you mentioned that with tuition and all the bills. Like, for real, most of, let's be honest, most of our parents do not know the power of credit cards. So like all throughout the pandemic, all I did was pay for everybody's foods and groceries with my credit cards because they didn't really know about the game, or nor did they care about it. So like during that time where we were in lockdown, I was able to hit many welcome offers, specifically on the gold card at that time. It's just such easy money. So if you can have some friends, or you know, buy their plane tickets, like Sonny says, or pay their bills in their houses, like, you know, some people like prepay their electricity bill. Some people prepay for things you need around the house. I've yet to do that because it's, you know, I was after the bigger money. Like, I wasn't trying to prepay for like $1,000 of paper towels, but I will wait when there's a good deal. I will go ham on it. But there's a lot of different things like that. I guess on that topic, before I keep moving, on the real estate side, so I'm a, you know, real estate agent. I also bought my first house 6 months ago, and so during that process, of course, I did like anybody would do in the credit card game. It was like, you know, crazy. It was like, how many different things could I pay for during this home buying process with a credit card? Long story short, there's only one thing for the most part. I know there's probably ways to game, but in the vanilla way, the only way I was able to game, sorry, two ways that you can kind of game and get welcome offers via the home buying process. So one is, so you're paying a few things when you go to buy a house. You have your down payment, obviously, you have your closing costs. Those things are going to be ACH, it's going to be check, direct to the bank. So that you really can't do. I know some people can probably do like plastic and all these different things, but I'd rather not worry about it. I'd rather just give them the check and say, all right, can I have the house now? And so, but a couple things you can prepay for, or buy and hit welcome offers with, is appraisals. So when you go to buy the house, your bank will say, hey, we got to get an appraisal on the house to make sure it's worth what you're buying it for, or else we're not going to loan on it. So that fee, depending on your state where you are, at least in South Carolina and a lot of these southern states, they're around $500, $550, something like that, for appraisal fees. So this way they can come in and pay the house. So that I was able to pay with a credit card. So sometimes, you know, they might have their own portal. Sometimes they'll buy it for you. Is it worth it to ask? Maybe. Like, if you have your last $500 and you're like, hey, can I put it on a credit card? I think it's worth it. I think I forgot we were hitting at that time. I can't remember what we had. I think oh yeah, we had an ink card. I think we were just getting the last chasing business card that we had. I think we were just finishing off that welcome offer. So I put the appraisal fees towards that. And then the other thing that you can what am I forgetting? The other thing is, what else can you buy on the home buying process? There's two things. First thing was the appraisal. What was the second thing? I can't remember. Oh yeah, the inspection. Only do it a million times. So appraisal and then the inspection. So somebody come into the house to make sure everything's correct. You know, pressure test the house, make sure no leaks, there's no issues in the attic, beams are correct, everything that could be wrong with the house for the most part. Inspectors going through. A lot of the times they take credit. I mean, they basically all take credit cards. I don't know anybody that does not. And that, plus, depending on your state, like we out here in South Carolina, we needed like a termite inspection. Some states don't necessarily require, I believe. But at least out here, that's another $500. So at least $1,000, or I was probably about $1,100 during the transaction and inspection and appraisal fees. We also put towards the Chase Inc. business card to hit that welcome offer. So during the home buying process, is definitely a lot of ways for them to take advantage. Plus, a lot of the times when people move in, they like try to. I still, a lot of people will end up trying to get everything done. So obviously, the most important thing is like the highest fees would be all the furniture. So all right, buy the couch, get the if you have a moving company, okay, that's all on a credit card. All the furniture that you buy obviously is on a credit card. All the other accessories that you need for a home. It's what's needed to actually get into the house. And then some people will get contractors, and that's where like one of the biggest things is. And I think that at least in the last couple of years, people have like opened their eyes to paying contractors with credit cards, and more contractors. Like if you get a plumber in here, you get a roofer, anything to do any type of housework on your house. All the ones that I've spoken to in recent times all take credit card. So it's never been hard for me to, have them charge the card for, whatever you got to get done. So, all different ways to do that. I guess other things related to houses, like Joe Brito mentions, he pays his property taxes. Not all of us can do that. Some of our property taxes are wrapped into the loan, like mine is right now. Some people don't, but that's also a great way to pay for that. I think he also pays his sister's taxes. He's talked about on video, and also when he had like HVACs go out again, a few thousand or $5,000+ depending on the size. All ways to hit welcome offers for sure. Again, preaching to the choir, but stream of consciousness, just talking about, easy ways to hit. Oh, another thing, HOAs. A lot of you guys have HOAs. From what I read in the comments, a lot of people got HOAs. Well, now I got an HOA, and it's pretty expensive. It's about $1,500 a year. It does cover a lot of things though, like the landscaping, shape the bushes. It's nice, garbage pickup, everything else. It's got a pool and stuff, so it's cool. But what I found, at least in my portal, is that the HOA charges me monthly, so $100 every single month, around there. And then I think there's like a yearly fee at the end of the year. But once I let it go for like a month, I was like, let's see if we get tacked on with it, because I didn't see any like penalties or anything like that. So I just said, all right, let's let it tack on. So that's what I've been doing. I just let it tack on more and more and more. So this way, again, at the end of the year, we could have a lump sum payment of around $1,500. Same thing with the taxes. Maybe it's, lump sum of $1,500. That's $3,000. Again, that could funnel towards a new welcome offer at the end of the year. So even your HOAs, if they don't charge any fees for like late fees or anything like that, you could just theoretically let it build up month to month, however they charge you. Some people do at the beginning of the year. This particular community, I don't think allows that for the first year, but then you go for it. So I think that's good. But, oh yeah, also people who like own properties. I mean, property managers will take that, from what I understand, a lot of times. So if you have rental properties, property managers, why not? So yeah, that's what are you guys' thoughts on that? And actually, yeah, let me see. Yeah, let me go further. Phil, Business Gold has a 6-month 0% APR. Very nice. Yeah, those limits are probably very high. Slight money and Jordan's wedding, unbelievable. Jesse says MXBP has a 0% offer. Oh, good to know. Good to know. I would really love to get a BPP, man. If they would give me a good offer on it, like I said the other night, like $75K, $6K spend, like I love that. I'll take that. I will absolutely take that all day. 100% if they would offer it to me, but for now I won't. Julian, very nice picture. That's very nice. Navy Fed is pretty good. 0% APR and high limits. Nice. Good suggestions. Absolutely. Nico, Ink Business 0% APR. One of mine was 35K limit. 35K. I mean, that's kind of wild. That's really high. Jeez, I never had one higher than 8K after they gave me a credit limit increase, but like auto approved, like 4, maybe 5K. What's going on, Oakland? Box says, when I got a big welcome offer, I wait for my insurance payments for my business. That's a good, yeah, look at that. That was another thing that I haven't done, but I was like in a pinch, I could do that. I could definitely do that. So at least for the 3 that I have, at least to give a running tally. So at least on my Surpass, I just hit it. I literally just hit it the other day. Now we have to work on my wife's, so we have to hit that Surpass. and I'm already halfway done with the venture. So I think I have about 5K left in spend. The venture I have until like the end of May, and the surpass I have until like September, I think. So plenty of time. I think where people really start getting in trouble is like every card is 3 months, like an ink, and I guess this venture and a few others, Sapphire Preferred. That Sapphire Preferred is a little steep now. You guys saw they upped it. They upped it. 5,000 from 4,000. 100K welcome offer. I mean, it's still worth it, but hey, man, slowly creeping up that minimum spend because they know they can. They know they absolutely can. No, John, none of that. You never have to pay for that. You never have to pay, at least in credit cards, maybe cash. Just kidding. Uh, just says Navy Fed usually gives best limit on the second card you apply for them. From what I was reading, not sure. Interesting. Never really heard that for the like the second card. All you really hear is Navy Federal flagship, and then how do I get 80,000 credit limit on my flagship? For sure. Box says if you use cashback card like it's a discount. Oh my goodness. Oh god. No, no. See, this is what happens with the late night. A little bit of debauchery. It's only 10 o'clock. I mean, what the heck? Saver for 3% on entertainment. Oh my goodness. Mike Doolin. What's going on, Mike? Good evening, everyone. 2045. Are you coming back from the future, Mike? Please let us know how the world shapes out. Do we have self-driving robo taxis picking us up? I mean, we already got self-driving cars, but do we have is there no more Uber drivers? Are there no more Uber drivers? Is it just robo taxi? Is it do we have robots as friends? Maybe we can go back on this stream 20 years from now and we can see what happened. Maybe I'll be replaced. I mean, I could literally, I think I could set up an AI. Like they have these AIs where you can just talk for 5 minutes straight, as I do normally. I can probably just feed it one of my live streams, rambling. And then it'll just kind of like mimic your stuff. I watched this one YouTuber who does it. It's actually kind of good. How crazy would that be? Oh my goodness. I tend to think that, not to get off topic, but I tend to think, at least for right now, like what are the jobs that are insulated from AI? Speaking about real estate, the other day we went to go look at a house to derail my whole spiel here. But we went to go look at a house, and the house was it was like a 450K house, which is like pretty expensive for out here. And all the pictures were like fantastic, like beautiful colors, great furniture, absolutely amazing. And it didn't make any mention of anything else. It was like beautiful house, ready for sale, descriptive, like great, product description, all of that about the house itself. We get there, total dumpster fire, totally catfished. It looked nothing like the pictures, and then eventually after looking at it, I was like, wow, this is straight AI. And at first glance, I didn't really think about that, but and of course, virtual staging has been around for a while, but it was pretty believable. It was pretty good. It was pretty good AI staging, and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, stagers, or at least like these graphic stagers, these people, it's not, the AI can do it now. You can literally just take a picture of an empty room and say, okay, stage it, cool, and then you have nice pictures, and then just you want to declare that in the actual real estate thing, but I digress. But I don't know how long will it take for actual stages to be replaced by robotics, because it does help the sale of a house when the house is fully furnished. Most people don't have the greatest imagination where they see like a wall and like, oh, I could see something there. So usually what I'll tell clients is like, go on Amazon and do the augmented reality, and then have a couch there, and then you can really visualize it, but it's not the same. It's nice when you have actual like furniture there. Anyway, Mike Newland got me on the 2045 talk. Sorry. Nico, Philip, you're talking about business gold. The business plat upgrade is 120K, no lifetime learning for a few weeks ago. Yeah, green to gold. Yeah, green to gold. Wait a second, I'm 20 minutes behind. What the hell what was I talking about? John Saturday. But I'm thinking about 50K MR for that kind of. Oh my god, what are you guys doing? What is typical for green to gold? Like 30K, usually 2K spend, $2,000 spend in 3 months, and they'll give you 30K membership reward points. And then typical is gold to platinum is 50K for 3K spend. Oh my god, It's a write-off. Unbelievable. Oakland says, my company use Rippling, and once you put in a bank account info, it's a few clicks. See, that's great. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. If that was that easy, just click it around, bam. Yeah, I would. It would be so much easier. That I think that's part of the reason why I don't do the bank account stuff like as I should, is because like I honestly need to go in the Discord. There's a whole section in the Discord link down below, which is all bank bonuses, and they know everything, and they keep to themselves, and they make so much money. And I just look at them like I would love to do that, but I don't want to change my direct deposit for real estate or YouTube. I just don't. I just don't want to do it, but maybe I should. Maybe I'm being stupid, but that's cool. But I think I might do the I don't know, business checking for Chase. George, what's going on, George? Question: I'm looking to rent Airbnb. What credit card do you recommend? My first thought, man, do I really want to go there? Do I really want to go there? Well, as far as I'm aware, well, I guess the main thing would be how are you thinking? How are you thinking about what currency you can earn? Because for the most part, Chase cards will code for the Airbnb for as travel, so you can get a 2x or 3x there depending on the card that you have. I believe, am I wrong in saying does the man, I haven't looked at it in a while. Does the autograph earn it that way? Either way, the one main thing I would be thinking about is like, okay, I would look online, see which one codes as Airbnb, figure out that currency. If it was me right now, it might be the one time I would consider getting my Amex green card back. 'Cause, clear, okay, cool, 150 annual fee, but at least many years ago, I was thinking about, the green card and Airbnbs and renting Airbnbs full time. And it's like 3x, on the Amex green for the Airbnb, $2,000 a month is 72,000 Amex points a year. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a welcome offer, at least every year, I would say. And it's not even factoring in anything else that you're doing with that card. So I think that's pretty powerful. But yeah, I would say, just making sure what currency that you want to earn, and if those cards with those multipliers do code Airbnb, like the Amex Green Card does, and the Chase cards do. So that's what I would say. Um, you know, and I haven't even looked at it in a while, so it's hard for me to see like or say which ones code Airbnb, but it seems like a lot of them. Just some of them don't. If it was me today, and I knew that it coded correctly, and I could probably look it up, or maybe you guys are saying something different below, but I might consider like if I can earn 2x on a travel category, and, with getting some chase points in some way, if it was at all possible. But yeah, I think having a screen could work for sure. And I still just love the idea of like Airbnb, like renting it out. I mean, maybe I don't know how it is nowadays with cleaning fees and whatnot, but if you could somehow work out a deal with the owner, like some people do, and it's a fully furnished house, you don't have to, it's a lot of spend furnishing a house and maintaining it, and with the Airbnb, there's no contract, for the most part, so it's like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but that's what I would say. Joshua and G, what's going on, Josh? George said, "Don't ask stupid questions." Of course, thanks. And it says, "I just got a 100K gold offer, but I have the saver. Don't want another high annual fee card." Yeah, that's always the conversation, right? It's like, man, do I take the points and foot the annual fee, or do I just keep going on with my cash back, or just my strategy that has $0 annual fee? Yeah, I mean, personally, just knowing how I would take advantage of the 100K Amex points, like really take advantage. I'd probably do it all day. Personally, 100K is awesome. But just know it's not like rare to see 100K. So there's gonna be plenty of times in the future where you can get 100K. It's not like it's more of a standard offer nowadays, I would say. You got to click around sometimes, but you eventually can get 100K. So it's not something you have to like jump on. Um, like the Sapphire Preferred 100K, that's something to jump on for sure, because it's just like, you never know when it's going to come back around. Last time it was 4 years ago, so you never know. But the gold will stay at 100K for a while, I believe. But I hear you. I hear you. That's why I ended up downgrading all of my Amex annual fee cards. Now I have my simple, like I mentioned on last stream, my simple Amex traditional green card, and I'm sailing at $55 annual fees, and I'm gonna sail away with that for a while. So I hear you on the annual fees. It's rough out here. Somebody says my tuition is 2.95% fee, but it's worth it. 100%. Yeah, it's like paying rent, 3%. You know, Jordan says pop-up wedding and NPR at the meetup, 100%. We need to do a fake. Well, we got to do salsa dancing with Filmo, but other than that, we can do wedding. Yeah. Josh says, "Oh, hey, I go to Stanford, not as a student, but as a bottom of the totem pole front desk person." Why would you call yourself that, Josh? Bottom of the totem pole, front desk person. And look at your picture. You're almost like depicting where you are. Think about it. You're in your picture. You're literally at the bottom of the tree, like the bottom of the totem pole. Come on, don't think so low of yourself, man. Get yourself together, man. You listen. You should be running Stanford, but come on. They don't have anything that you don't have. Go for it. Absolutely. But I hope they pay you well doing that. Oakland, my wife is taking my daughter to NOLA in July. Nice, and she doesn't have hotel status. I'm thinking of having her get the Aspire now for the FNC. Other option is the Platinum. Yeah, it depends where you're going. Some spoke we were. Some folks I was talking to. Maybe he doesn't want me saying it, but he was thinking about going to New Orleans and hitting up some nice hotels like the Waldorf out there, like the one I did, and some other credit card people were doing in the last meetup. So personally, it depends where you're going to stay. Like you're saying Aspire, so I'm thinking you're going Hilton. If you're going Hilton, you're probably going to that Waldorf. I probably wouldn't waste an FNC there because likely in July, I don't know what the cost will be, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it's like 200s to low 300s. I can't imagine it would be much higher than 300 if you're going to that Waldorf and NOLA. But I honestly, personally wouldn't waste an FNC there. I can see a world where you get the platinum card and use it for FHR. I think that could be worth it. Because then you're paying cash and get the 200 reimbursed, and that place is cool because if you get gold status, you'll be able to stack the benefits there. Like when I was there, I got $210 in food credits because we got the $100 from FHR, $60 breakfast credit from FHR, and then $50 in Hilton gold status that you would get from the platinum card. That also stacked on top of that, that you can use at the restaurant or the breakfast place there. And I recommend the food place there. I'm forgetting the name of it now. It's like when you walk in, it's like 4 doors down on your right. It's pretty open. But I personally, unless you're going to use the Aspire in any other way, if we're just like solely locking into this trip, I think I would go platinum personally. I think I'll go platinum and do FHR for the Waldorf, and they'll have a great stay there. It's a little bit away from the craziness, so it's a little safer over there. And you'll be able to double dip everything by doing platinum in that way. Whereas FNC, you can get better stays, and you're only gonna get the $50 dining credits there for Hilton Diamond. So I think platinum. Phil says, I don't think credit cards were invented yet when I was in school. That's not true. That's not true. Come on, man. There were Amex cards around when you were in school. You're not even like, let's be honest, Phil. You're like an embryo in this whole, scheme. My dad had a license by the time you were born. Small fish, man. Okay, Amex green card was around in the 50s. So unless you lie about your age and you're actually about 70, which it's about my dad's age, then we have something else to talk about. But that's funny. Yeah, Filmo, you're so old. Well, actually, yeah, that's not even like an old joke. It's just normal, the stamping of the ink. But I was thinking like Calby found this like, what was it? I feel like it was a 40s credit card. It was like a little keychain looking thing. But anyway, Brady Sullivan. Paying tuition is the way to go. I've earned over 1 million points this year paying it. Oh, what is your tuition like, Brady? Damn. 1 million points. Oh, wow. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that's kind of crazy, man. Whoa, that's pretty wild. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, look, but you can game it. Like that's the game that you can play. It's just for me, it was 8K and bust. But I don't think we traveled enough. Daniel Sparks, what's up, Top G? What's going on, Daniel? Yo, Daniel's been killing it with his channel. You guys been watching him? He has very cinematic shots, very interesting shots. He's definitely taken a different spin in the credit card world, and I love to see it. I love to see it. I think he's going to be a big player. Joshua, would those fees kill you though? 2-3% on 8K tuition sounds painful. Let alone private tuition that goes up to 5 figures. I mean, yeah, like I said, it depends. Most of the people who are in school aren't making that much anyway. So yeah, that could hurt you, and especially if you're young and you start thinking about floating that on 0% APR, or you're just going to pay the minimum card payment. Like, yeah, you're going to get wrecked by interest, fees, and all of that. But if it was like me, like on 8K, if I had to pay the 3%, it would have been nothing, because I'm just thinking, like, if I knew everything I knew now and I got like an ink preferred back then, in this weird example, which actually I guess I did have businesses back then, so I could have, I had like a language learning business at that time. Technically, could have had a business card. Anyway, but that that would have been like 100,000 points. The 3% fee would have been so small in comparison. Honestly, it's it's really nothing that I'm worried about personally. Like, $240, versus $1,000. Like, it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's it's 25% of it, but still, like, points multiplied by the travel. 100%. Chad says, I pay the property tax on my mom's properties every year. Killing it, just like Joe. I would love, I would honestly love to do that. Olga says, my mom got the surpass. It isn't even working towards the FNC. She could buy. I mean, what other card she using? I mean, you got to educate her. I mean, for real, go to your mom and say, look, I don't care about your TJ Maxx card. I don't care about your JCPenney card, your Sears card. I don't care about your Circuit City card. It's not, it doesn't, Radio Shack card. Like, we don't care. Put it all towards the surpass. You spend 15K and I'll give you a vacation. How about that? Don't even tell her about the FNC. Just say, if you spend 15K, if you show me the receipt, I'll send you on a trip somewhere. 100%. That's the way. Daniel Stork says, do you know how much your Ritz-Carlton card weighs and other metal cards do you have? I do. Do I have a scale? I don't think I have a scale with me right now. Where is my Ritz card? I think it's like right here. You guys, I would love to show you, but it's too much. But here's the Ritz-Carlton card, baby. Oh no, what the hell is that? I'm gonna have to clean it. We got a little ring in there. It's like a tiny coffee cup. The Ritz card. So the Ritz card is not as metal as you might think. 100%. I mean, maybe it feels a little more metal than I thought. Let me pick up the platinum card. Well, it actually feels. So I guess I won't leave you guys in the dark here, but yeah, the platinum and the Ritz. It doesn't feel like I don't know. I think the platinum is more sturdy. I think the Ritz is more bendy than you would imagine, and I think it's lighter. As far as grams, I thought the platinum card was 0.18 grams. I feel like if that's true, then the Ritz is like 0.16 or something like that. Honestly. So, but hey, listen, if you ever come out here, man, we could weigh them together. We could weigh our credit cards. We could see, and then we can, full on, like, weigh the George Costanza wallet. That'd be good. Got too many in here. Credit card weight. That's funny. I had a video. It's so stupid. I had a video idea written down many years ago, or yeah, I guess many years ago. I was like, how tall would I be standing on top of my credit cards? Like, oh, I'm 6 foot standing on my credit cards, like the old joke with the cash. But I was like, I wonder how tall it is with all the credit cards stacked up. It's probably about this. It's honestly probably about this tall. So maybe could I get a foot? Maybe, you never know. George, appreciate you, George. for the 5 spot. I hope the Airbnb is useful, as I used to think about it years ago with the green card and 3x and everything. If you already have that card, especially, it could be valuable. So thank you for that super sticker, man. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. What did I miss? All right, here we go. Yes, once again, Tom G. He's the top G, and then George Morales. Much appreciated. Ooh. Oh yeah. So Chad says in Florida you can pay for your inspection, your wind mitigation, and appraisals. There may be more, but that's what I remember paying for outside of closing back in 2008. Wow, closing back in 2008. Have we heard that story? Man, that must have been crazy. Actually, yeah, wind mitigation is interesting. But yeah, inspection appraisal seems to be pretty universal, I would say, and anywhere. And then depending on your state, you might have other things like we have the termite inspections and all that. Oakland says there are shorts about weight. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I should do that. They would just do well. That stuff does well. Anthony, you bring up a good point. What setup do you recommend parents that want to do some travel? I'm currently setting my mom on a Capital One setup, maybe a Wells and City, being that they can earn real fast. I think for most parents who just, they're not like us, they're not crazy like us, they don't want to manage many things. I think you're right to have a Capital One setup. If they want to travel, I can see a world where just like standard Capital One Duo, you have 2 cards. This is for groceries, and dining. This is for everything else, something like that. And then just teach them that the one-time credit, $300 travel credit, teach them how to do that. Yeah, I think that would be pretty beneficial. I'm trying to think if there's any other like simplistic, one call. Like obviously, if they were, if the U.S. bar was still around, and they were, normal with the, mobile wallet and stuff like that, I could see that being a great, one card setup for everything, real time rewards, cool. You can travel with that. So I could see a world where that makes sense, but unfortunately, it's not around right now. But yeah, I would say at least for as cheap as possible. Obviously, like you mentioned, Wells and City, they can earn real fast. I mean, you could literally hand them an autograph card and they can cover most of their stuff, and then you just show them how to use those points down the line. City as well. I mean, could you get them a horde of City custom caches while you can? Choose a bunch of different categories, get 5% on all that. When they want to travel, be like, all right, now now you get a City strata, something like that. I could see that as well. It's definitely cheaper. So I guess the main discrepancy there would be lounge access, I guess, in that case. So it's like, let them know, like, okay, do you here's lounge access, here's the deal. If they're just like gate warriors and they're just like sitting there, that's fine. Let them go City, let them hang out with City, and then you could teach them to use those points. But if they don't mind a little annual fee, if they like, the idea of lounges, I think Capital One setup makes sense. Yeah. It's just something simplistic, something that's not going to be too crazy, nothing too wild. Even built, honestly, could be a one card setup for a lot of things in some cases. But yeah, I think you're right on with that 100%. Julie says there's some debit cards that give cash back and could utilize those for things that can't be charged to a credit card. Yeah, it's very true. I think one of the companies reached out to me actually. There was some debit card company that I met at FinCon, and they were like, "Oh, we're segmenting expenses and budgeting, and I think there's like a certain percentage you get." I don't really remember, but yeah, there's certain debit cards. I wish I had some off the top of my head. I know some earn like 1 or 2%. It's not bad. Some of them actually earn pretty well. Well, actually, the biggest one, which Daniel Sparks talked about, which was the PayPal debit card, where you can get 5% back on like a lot of different categories. So yeah, like absolutely. You can take advantage. Bridge is always around. Why did CJ disappear again? Bridge, you are it's so funny. You are the one guy, and I mention you to people. You're the one guy who keeps tabs on everyone. You've been asking if Josh Butler has, he's been gone for a while. And then he came back, and then I saw you on there. I was like, he's fine. Posted a video, and you're like, oh, so you were fine. Now you have to start doing that, CJ. CJ, why did he disappear? He's just working. He's just working. He got a new job. He's killing it, making good money, having fun, having a good time in life. He moved for a little bit. He's doing a lot of things. And he's got some things cooking in the background for sure. But I mean, he doesn't disappear. He's just like a bye for now. I think it's one of those, but it's more like a see you later, right? But CJ's great. I talk to him almost every day, honestly. Jesse, built ads Japan Airlines as one-to-one transfer part. Interesting. Yeah, definitely interesting. It's funny. Ian in the Discord upon this news, he was like, all right, so the devaluations start tomorrow then, right? So I think some people are happy, the built ecosystem are happy. Some people want to still get their, awesome flights through them. I think they're worried, but that's definitely interesting. I just wish I honestly cared. Like if I had enough build points where I could care. I've transferred all the ones I've ever earned out to Hyatt, and in my case, rightly so, because I had to get some stays done. But I just wish I earned more. I just don't earn any build points at the moment. Maybe in the future, but not right now. Definitely interesting. They're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep collecting more and more and more, and just be look at every advertisement they have on YouTube. Every time they pop up, they're just like, voted one of the best currencies of 2023, 2024. So they're just going to continue, trying to have more and more access, more and more different partners, 100%. Phil says, I'm the president of my HOA. Damn, Phil. Okay, Phil, let's think like businessmen here, okay? If you're the president of the HOA, let's see if you can, let's create a situation where you can benefit. Phil, right? Think about a world where your entire neighborhood, 300 plus houses, whatever it is, and you say, all of you will owe at the end of the year, but I'll pay it for you. Here's my Venmo. Here's how you send me money back. And this way, Phil, you could put, $100,000, you hit HOA fees, 300, $1,000 into the year, 300, houses, you can put all, you can make it work. I mean, if you're the president, you can make it work. So, just kidding. Oh Lord. I'm so behind. I'm sorry. Oh God, this is Joe Bruno and Sledge Style, as people tell me. Leanne says an HOA will sue you. I hope they don't. We'll see what happens. If they try, I'm not leaving. I'm just kidding. They'll probably say, I figured we'll get an email before anything, if they say there's an issue. Daniel, I hope you've been training, little bro. All right. You think you're being funny, but just wait when you come down here and we do a workout. And, I don't want you crying saying like, oh, I was right. AnthonyVentureYT, he works out hard. Yeah. What did I do today? I did overhead press. I don't know if this scares you, but I got 155 for a single. I'm working up to 185. If I can ever do that, it's like a lifetime goal. And I did 75 pounds attached pull-ups for 2. All right, 1.5, but I haven't done weighted in a while. So, all right, we're working on it. So let's see, Daniel. Let's see. I'm gonna put you through the venture gauntlet, which is overheads, pull-ups. And that's what I like doing the most. We'll do a curling medley. We'll do a bunch of things, and we'll film it. It'll be great. So I hope you don't blow me out of the water, though. I know you're pretty jacked, but we'll see what happens. Josh says, because we can, the classic chase line. Yeah, up to 5,000 from 4. Ben Ben Meyer, keep the Hilton vacation videos coming. Thank you for the 2 spots, sir. Yes. Yeah. Basically, you guys get the idea now. I just run with whatever I'm doing at the time. There's really no rhyme or reason. It's just like if I see something interesting, I just go for it, and I'll just make a ton of videos on that and do it until it's exhaustion, and then I'll move on. Right now, it's all Hilton. It's timeshares. It's free night certificates. I'm having a lot of fun doing that, and I'm really excited for the Hilton vacation videos. I think it's a timeshare, but yeah, this Hilton vacation for sure. Yeah. We have we got the timeshare coming up next month. I got a bunch of Hilton stays booked this year. many nights in Hilton's, some with fifth night free, some with brands I've never been with before. Yeah, I'm very excited, for sure. So thank you, Ben, for that as well. Don Kim, what's going on, Don Kim? Jeremy says CSR codes short term Airbnb as travel. Hell yeah, that's what I mean, man. Get that 3x. Get that 3x. Absolutely. Yeah, if I had a CSR already all day, it'd be that. Airbnb Inc. preferred. Yeah, good point. That's a very good point as well. Leon says, I just got the Chasing Unlimited, but they gave me a 3K limit, so I can't really take advantage of the 0% totally. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other ink cards. I don't know if this is your first, but you can transfer some limit over if need be, from one ink to the other. So just know it's possible. Also, just know for on-time payments, once you pay it on time for about 3 months, they will up your limit by a few thousand. Don't be surprised that you go from 3 to 8 out of nowhere in just a few months. So just so you know. Jeremy Cahill says, but how many people straight up buy before seeing the actual property? I mean, it depends what type of a baller you are. There are a lot of folks who come from out of state who will buy houses sight unseen. Um, I think, am I right in assuming this? Did they see that house? I can't remember. I sold the house last year. It was like 400 plus. Um, and they were coming from Chicago. I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was a sight unseen. I think a lot of the folks that come from California, Chicago, New York, Florida, Ohio, they got money. They sold a house for half a million to a million, depending on the state. They'll see a house. The realtor will tell them about the area. Sometimes they'll do a FaceTime, call, and then they'll just buy. I would say it's more rare than the average person, 100%, because in real estate, you really have to feel the house. Like you have to. There's no other option. There's been so many houses. I mean, I looked at hundreds and hundreds of houses over the past few years, hundreds of them, and ones that were super nice in photos. Everything on paper looks perfect, and you get there, and it's just not what it seemed like. It just the road was a little bit different. It was a weird area. Neighbors could be weird. The house has a different layout than it seemed on pictures. The pictures did it too much justice. And then sometimes you'll go to houses like most people on like Zillow or whatever, they'll look at houses that have like really bad pictures. And a lot of the times there's a reason for that. It's like the house actually is just bad. But every now and again, if you see a house that's like, uh, something's there and it's like a good area, you go there and you're like, wow, this is way better than I expected. I remember before we bought this house, there was like two or three separate houses that my wife was like, "Oh my god, that's it. That's the one." And then we get there and it's like, "Okay, these colors look weird. They're conflicting. The layout of the home is very odd. Like why is there, the kitchen and the laundry right on top of each other and then it goes through to the bedroom. It's like, what are we doing here?" So I feel like so wholeheartedly you need to feel it. Like you can't just look at pictures. You need to, no matter what it looks like for the most part. If it's a good house, good price, the area is good, it's like just go see it, feel it, and then you can kind of go from there because you never know until you get there what the feeling is going to be like. And then you kind of know. As many clients I have will go through 20 houses, and then there'll be that one. Actually, oddly enough, we had a client from YouTube that I like to talk about. One day I'll get him on camera. But he reached out in the Discord. He was like, "Hey, I live here, and I heard you're a realtor." So he took a shot, and we got him a great house. But it was like on the maybe 15th, maybe I'm wrong, 10 or 15th house, and some of them were okay. Some were like, this is nice," and this one was like technically lower end than some of the ones they look at, but like the atmosphere, the block is quiet. It's great. Like this is great, and you just kind of feel it. You just kind of know. Box says a lot of houses I see on Zillow, they have the inside of houses done up in AI, 100% all the time. All the time. AI is taking over, man. It's taking over. It's taken over. Nicholas says, any thoughts on the Capital One Discover merger is going through? Last I heard, there was like, there's an issue, like it's not going through, and then all of a sudden it is. I don't know what's happening. I just assume it's going to take way longer than anyone assumes. What will happen when that happens? I don't know. I want them to fix my account because I can't even access upgrade offers. I can't access anything. My account's like, I don't know, something wrong with my account. Dennis Brooks, how do I have an invincible hairline like you? Let me think about this. So an invincible hairline like me. So it is kind of invincible in a lot of ways, knock on wood. So what I would say is the most important thing is choose your not only your parents but choose your grandparents wisely. My grandfather, I believe I inherited his hair. My dad says he was 94 and he had a full head of hair, like fully and thick head of hair. He was Irish, fully Irish. So yeah, I think choose your parents, choose your grandparents wisely. I think is the most important thing. Um, Otherwise, hop on the high meat diet. You know, I should probably get my wife here. She knows how to do hair growth. There's a few things you could do. There's a few things. When you come out here, we'll have you talk to the wife about hair growth because that's all she's been into lately. Not all she's been into, but she's healed her hair for sure. And Head and Shoulders. Don't forget about Head and Shoulders. Let it grow a little bit. Let it grow. Head and Shoulders. And then you're good. And then you're good. But Head and Shoulders has a lot of chemicals. I wouldn't do that. Can mess you up long term. Juan, hello Anthony. What's good? What's good, Juan? What's popping? Appreciate you being here. Jay says, when I was in college, the applications were in paper, and they would give you a t-shirt, coffee mug to apply. Unbelievable. A shirt, they give you a shirt and a coffee mug to apply. That's hilarious. That's almost as bad as like what was it, the Costco credit card? You apply and they give you a $5 rotisserie chicken. I mean, that's bad. Right? I mean, come on. JC Penny credit card for the win. Get out of here. You know what? Get out of here, Lazaro. You're not wanted here with the JC Penny card. Unbelievable. But I appreciate you being here. And thanks for coming out. Daniel Sparks says, I've used credit cards for tuition before, but as a student, I don't recommend using 0% APR offers. You never know if you'll have the money to pay it off over the summer. Too risky. 100%. 100%. Great thoughts there. Absolutely. Rodrigo, what's a good business card for gas purchases? Right off the top of my head, I think a lot of people actually really love using their Wyndham Earner business, for gas purchases. I think it actually earns pretty well. Let's see. Gas multiplier on business card. Let's see. I have not gotten gas in a very long time. I probably should just read you guys' comments because, you guys probably have the answer to this already. Let's see. Oh, doesn't on a business card though. On a business card. Let's see. Here's a Reddit thread 10 months ago. Gas expense. Wow, literally the second answer. Wyndham Business Earner rakes in 8x points on gas. That's what I'm saying. The Amex Business Gold gives you 4x MR points on the first 150K spend. Oh, cool. So the Amex Business Gold, Wyndham Business Earner, and the Bank of America Business Customized Cash Rewards get 3% on selected categories. So gas. Interesting. But yeah, definitely looks like Amex Business Gold, US Bank Altitude Connect, but that's not business. Oh, no, it is business. Yeah, Business Altitude. We got 4%. And Wyndham Business Earner. Look at that. Just if you want other options, you just go on Reddit. I just type it in. And look at that. And right below Voxer says Amex Business Gold. Yeah, 100%, 100. Citibank short of premiums. Okay, one car setup. I suppose. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty powerful. Ben Meyer, great April Fool's Hilton vacation video. Can't wait for on-site video of timeshare. Appreciate it, Ben. Yeah, that people keep telling me offline like that was a crazy April Fool. I didn't think it was gonna be that crazy. I thought it was gonna be like a simple thing, haha. I'll be like, all right, nice, Anthony. But I think it really got people. So thank you for saying that, Ben. Yeah, and I'm excited too. Next month, absolutely next month we'll be doing it. I believe we can do it. Thanks again for that, Ben. Smart thing. How do you get your hair perfect like that in the front? Making all the ladies drool, bro. No, sorry, not the other one, but hide your wife. He's coming. Anthony's coming through. Look, I don't know. I'll just say that I wish I had a picture of me in the past. I put it in videos before, but I used to have a straight buzz cut. It was like 3 all the way around. So, it wasn't like this. But then one day, my girlfriend, which is her, she was like, 7 years ago now, she was like, yeah, you should grow it out. So I was like, yeah, I guess maybe I can grow it out, and then I started growing it out. And there was a time I did grow it out in the future. And here's words for the younger folks. Hair is very awkward when we're young. It really annoyed me. I hated the way my hair looked and made my face shape. I was like, I was like, oh, my head's round. I never knew what my face looked like. It was like a whole big thing. I was really neurotic about it. But one day I ended up growing it out, and I was like, wow, okay, if it's a little bigger on top and a little more on the sides, it gives you a little bit better face shape. So I think being okay with letting it grow out a little bit. I think we're so used to like just get the three all the way around, crew cut, get it done. Or box out front like in New York, everybody had that. But then you realize like, you can play around, and usually if you let it grow, you kind of figure out how your hair handles itself. And so mine naturally does this. Like I wake up and it's this. I don't do anything special. It's not that, and it's very malleable. I'm just kind of, to be honest, it's the one thing I'll say I'm lucky about is the hair just is very malleable. You can just do whatever you want with it. Like imagine I walked on here like this, like Johnny Bravo. But then you could just put it back in 2 seconds. So I'm lucky like that. Some people don't have that kind of hair, like freaking, some people got crazy hair and you can't really mess around with it. But yeah, words to the younger folk, just let it grow out a little bit. You kind of, it finds its way. And it's a bit like Clark Kent. All of a sudden, every stream we got to talk about Clark Kent, and I'm not screaming at you, Leanne. All right, I'm not screaming at you, but all of a sudden now I'm Superman. I'm Clark Kent. I'm that dual person. Who was that last time? Someone said I'm Superman's dad. I feel like this is new, unless the curl is so prominent now. Like, what's the deal? Why is everybody so obsessed with the curl? I want you. Do you guys know this? You guys know that on here, this shirt, that's my face, right? Like I gave my face side profile to a guy and he made it into the shirt. I hope you guys know that's me. I think nobody realized the Easter egg, but it is. I should have put the hair as my point. I should have put the hair down there. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I could fix the design and put a little hair in the front. Interesting. And says, can you talk about Amex annual fee waiver trick? Which one do you mean exactly? Are you talking about there's a few. So if you're talking about waiver, like completely waived, that's kind of just not possible other than like military. There's ways to kind of recoup your costs, like retention offers, or as my wife called it earlier, goodbye offers, because you have welcome offers, which is the, get in the cart, and then goodbye offers, she said, is like retention offers. You're trying to say goodbye, but then they give you an offer to stick around. You can get a goodbye offer, sometimes like Amex Platinum card will, like in the past, I've taken retention offers of 40K after 5K spend. 40K can possibly, pay a good amount of that annual fee back. So as far as waivers, it's kind of like military for like fully waived, but otherwise you can recoup that cost by retention offers, I would say, for the most part. Yeah, in that way, I should say. Leanne says, but I have to do the 6,000, spent in 3 months. After that, I don't really care about the credit limit. But you're fine though. 3,000 is enough. It's not, it's not bad. I've hit the in cash welcome offer of 6K and well, I guess they gave me 6 months for that, but they gave me $1,100 limit. So it's, you just pay it off, you pay it off and you go for it. Definitely. Leon says, I think your credit score and utilization of the cards matter with Chase heavily. Been stuck at a 500 limit with the CFU and since June, always paid in full on time, but have had high utilization. If you're saying as far as like getting credit limit increases, it's possible, right? It's possible. If you mean like as far as like getting approved for new cards, I think they say utilization can matter. I've never really found it necessarily to be the case. Even when I've run things up or went it down to zero, I've been able to get approved. But as far as limits are concerned, usually, and you kind of sound like my brother-in-law a little bit because he was always hit with low limits on the Chase cards. Honestly, the best way to get some limits is just apply for a new card down the line. If it's already been a couple of years since you've had the CFU, since June, never mind. But like he went for the ink cash and he got that, and then he just recently went for a Sapphire Preferred, and even though he only has, I think he had $1,000 limit on the CFU, and then they bumped up to 2,000 after like 6 months or a year. And then he applied for the Sapphire Preferred the other day. He's got an 8K limit out of nowhere, $8,000 limit. So sometimes it's the card you have, not necessarily your profile, but I hear you. Smart thing. We need more vlog style videos when you're staying at the hotels. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me out with that, but it's tough because I think I think vlog style is interesting, but I don't think I would release it as a regular video on the channel unless I had like a second place to put it. Like I know some people do like the members videos, but I'm not like the biggest fan of it. Um, I don't know if there was like some other place I could put those things if it's interesting. But usually I'll vlog it, but I'll intertwine it in a normal credit card video. Like it'll be like, oh, here's how I did this day with credit cards, and then fast forward, here's being in the hotel. This is pretty big. It's not bad, right? You know, so I don't know. Maybe you guys have thoughts on that. I'm not sure, but I appreciate you thinking of that. If it means a lot to say that, like a vlog style is cool. Mr. Potato, yo, what's going on, Mr. Potato? What's poppin'? Leanne, my personal chase cards have high limits, but they won't let me transfer credit limit. Yeah, they won't let you, unfortunately. They won't let you. Yeah, I would say just give it some time. Pay off the balance, hit that. You'll be able to hit it, no problem. I would say you'll be okay for sure. Dennis Park says, I'm kind of a real estate casual. Could I pull 10K from my Roth, use an FHA loan to buy a house, live in it for a year, then move out and turn it into a rental? Okay, so like, so real estate is basically like the place where you can be the most creative with things. In my opinion, like you can be so creative in real estate, and there's very few. I mean, there's rules to get the deal done, but there's like, I don't know. As an example, depending on where you live, the whole like live in it for a year doesn't exist. It just doesn't. All right. I thought it did because I watched a lot of real estate YouTube videos, and they were like live in it for a year and then rent out. Until like it came to find out, I ended up going to every lender, out here when I first came out here to South Carolina to talk to them, even in New York as well, but mostly here. And I talked to all of them, and I was like, I would say the same thing. I'd be like, okay, live in it for a year and then rent it out. And I remember at one particular point, one lender said to me, well, like something like you keep bringing up the 1 year. He's like, well, as long as you're making the payment, we would have no way of knowing you're not living there. I was like, okay. And then and then I actually ended up being friends with that guy, and he was like, yeah, I mean, you could just rent it out for the most part at any time, after buying the house. So it's like, a lot of it is like, you can bend those thoughts. I would say. I think there's some states where that is strict somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, it's not. It's conventional wisdom, but it's not necessarily true in all cases. So it's like, if you really wanted to live in it for a month, I talked to him a million times about it. It's like live in it for a month and go rent it out. It's just the fact of, then you have to buy a new house. Are you going to, you go back to the lender? It's right, you're renting it out. Um, you know, but yeah, I mean, your point, I guess let me put a caveat. The idea is the intention has to be there that you were planning to live there and then something happened. Like if the intention is there, that's the only thing that matters, and that's where you can kind of play in that game, which is like, yeah, you bought the house FHA, I plan to live there, and then who knows what happens. I got to move back home, I lost my job, what can I do? I can rent it out though, and you'll still get your money, there's no default. So that's like, it's like a whole thing, that you can play around with. But yeah, as far as like pulling 10K from your Roth, using FHL to buy a house, just know too, again, with playing the game, you have to get a good agent. It's why I've been referring people agents all around. So if you need a good agent, let me know. But it's because you can save so much money, so much money. I had a client recently that, you know, if we were to leave everything the same and I would have not done any negotiations whatsoever, they probably would have had to pay about $20,000 out of pocket, I would say, after all was said and done on down payment and closing costs. After I had, the good negotiations done, they only had to pay about $8,000 out of pocket. So $12,000 saved because I told the seller, like, hey, pay for this, give us this amount of closing costs back, or now we want more money for repairs. And, it's being fair also for the most part because you go through inspections and stuff. But, just know, like, I wouldn't just instantly pull out 10K until like you're mostly done with the deal, for the most part. It depends if it's your last 10K, for the most part, like, yeah, your FHA loans, you can get that, but there's so many different programs out there. Like, talking to lenders, you can figure out, like, oh, there's actually, like, conventional loans. Most when we hear on YouTube, we're like, oh, conventional is 3 to 20%, but no, there's actually some conventional loans in certain programs that are zero money down, no private mortgage insurance, no PMI, and favorable rates, just because they're in a particular area, something like that. There's so many different things you can play around with. So, but I mean, as far as, like, your question here, we can talk about when you come out here. But yeah, I mean, yes, that's something you can do. Yeah, but I just want everybody to know, like, because I see a lot of people get burned in real estate, and just doing the job for so many years, and having the credit card finagler mind. I just know what's possible, and so if you have a good realtor, just know you shouldn't be paying, like, an insane amount of fees, and at least always ask to get some more money back. Your agent should be always advocating for that, especially if there's repairs that's needed, or if they can cover your closing costs in some way. Like, you can get it done for a lot less than you would think. So I hate to see anybody, like, lose money or something like that. In that way. Smart thing. That's my soapbox. Smart thing says, I've never had a credit increase denied, but every 6 months I request increase at Chase and Amex. Most cards are maxed out on the limits. Damn, why are you trying to get so high limits, man? Come on, man. Oh God, Smart thinks he's going backwards on the comments. Come on, bear with me, man. Just bear with me. All right, I'm trying. But why are you trying to max out your limits, Smart? You're gonna start getting denied because they're extending too much credit towards you, man. I'd lower those limits. Personally, I lower my limits. Those Chase Inks, they put it up to 8K. I was like, put it back down to 1. What are you doing? I don't want that much limit. What are you, crazy? Don Kim says, someone told me that buying a house without physically visiting it is like buying underwear at the mall without trying it on first. Okay, I agree with the sentiment, but I've never tried on underwear at the mall. I've never tried on underwear, period. Now, unless this is a weird analogy, or they're saying that you shouldn't physically, like, visit a house, uh, you know, unless it's, like, reverse, like you're saying, someone told me that buying a house without physically visiting it is like buying underwear at the mall. No, it wouldn't work opposite. Um, but I don't know anybody that tries on underwear at the mall, but I agree with the sentiment. Don't Kim, 100%. I agree. That's funny. As Joe, oh my God, 20 minutes later, I'm so terrible. Yes, Wyndham business earner, 100%. And says, oh yeah, retention offers. Yeah, so on retention offers, basically, after a year of owning the card, you can ask them, like, hey, I'm unhappy with the card. I didn't get as much value as I thought. Um, it's time to say goodbye. They've been a little bit more wary as of late, but you could still say, like, oh, I think I'm just, I always used to say I'm thinking of canceling. I don't want to, but I'm just thinking of it. It's not giving you that. Then they give you the whole rigmarole of every single credit that you've used and can use for the rest of the year, to which you would say, I just don't think it's that valuable, personally. And sometimes they'll give you different offers. Sometimes in those upgrade or retention offers, they'll actually offer you an upgrade offer. They'll say, well, you can upgrade to this card and it's actually better. But a lot of the time they'll offer a retention offer. So it's like, for the gold, it's like in the past I've gotten, spend 2K, we'll give you 10 or 15K membership reward points. For the platinum, it's like spend 5K, give you 40K. Nowadays they're a little bit different, sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little higher, but that's the gist of it. Just, yeah, chatting in on the Amex app, telling them, you don't see the value, I'm thinking of canceling, and then see what they offer you. And then you also have to be prepared. Like, if they say we can't offer you anything, then you have to say, okay, I'll keep it open then, or I'll downgrade, or I'll cancel. Yeah. Mr. Muscles, how did you get so many muscles? What's up? What's popping? Filmo says, just paid the annual fee on the new business platinum yesterday, and today the original business platinum annual fee hits. Can I borrow? You know what, Phil? If you go live, I'll hit you with a 20 spot. How about that? If you go live, I'll hit you with a 20 spot, and then I'll help you pay the annual fee. I got you covered. Muscle says, I got denied for the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Credit score 750. Never missed a payment. 4 out of 5 for Chase. 524. I'm about to say screw it, not go after Chase cards for now. 4 out of 5 for Chase 520. Right. Yeah. It's. I hear you, and I feel your pain. I've talked to a lot of people who've also been denied in this way. I would say muscles. I think you're still new, if I remember correctly. You're still kind of new in the game. How many years you been in? Like, how many years have you had credit cards? For what I've seen, once you're past like a year of having credit history, it seems like Chase is a little bit more easy. Like the Freedom Unlimited, you'll get approved for it. So let me hear that before I go on. How long you been in it? Carlos, 2 years ago, got Prime Card 5 and limit, got 2 MS cards 9K each, then CSP for last 22 limit on the CSP. Jesus, I got 5K. I got 5K. And that's yeah, that's crazy. Ms. Potato, same here. Okay. Rodrigo says, you think the ink train is still somewhat derailed? Any chance Chase has eased up a bit? I think time will tell. If history repeats, then we should be getting an elevated ink referral offer. I mean, an ink, ink offer, welcome offer this month. But before the month ends, if I remember correctly, last year at this time, they hit us with a nice 90K on the in cash. The 90K in cash offer. Yeah. And right now it's 75K. So if history repeats, we should have an elevated one, maybe ink unlimited, hopefully at 90K, something like that. And then when that happens, usually they'll ease up a little from, a lot of this is woo-woo, but intuition, feeling out data points. But when there's an elevated offer, you sometimes can get through a little bit easier, as per data in the past. So that would be a good time to like try it, go for it. Do I think it's somewhat derailed a little bit? I didn't want to believe it at first, but I do think that, yeah, I mean, the I won't say anything ends because there's been times where the ink train was, dried up many years ago. But then it came back and they softened a little bit. So I think it's just a matter of everything that is going on in the world right now. Everything's kind of tightening a little. But I wouldn't. I think there's a real shot that it's powerful. Especially if you don't have any. Like if you don't have any, you can get a few real quick or a couple real quick. Really, no problems, and that's great value. My wife has 2, and maybe we'll go for 3 again. But it's still great value. Get a couple of them, and then you're good. But I do think it is dramatically harder to get 3 or 4 nowadays. But we'll see. Olga says, anyone have any suggestions for the best pool in NOLA? Does the Roosevelt have a nice one? I don't remember if the Roosevelt had a pool. Did it have a pool? I mean, it had a spa, had a gym. I don't think it had a pool personally. Let's see. Wait, it did have a pool? What the hell is this? Where was this, Filmo? Where was this? Where the heck was this pool? I didn't know there was a pool here. I mean, that's pretty nice. Yeah, look at that rooftop. Yeah, the Roosevelt, New Orleans, Waldorf Astoria. Yeah, I didn't even know we had that. Wow. I mean, yeah, it's a nice pool. I don't know about any others, but that looks kind of nice. Damn. Lance says, I had an extremely difficult time getting my first Chase cards. After any calls and meetings with branch, it turned out that my mother had opened a card in my name when I was a teen. Interesting. See that? You never know. There's always something. Well, it says the whole FHA limited for a year only applies if you have a significant value add property. I feel like, which in that case you need more than 3.5% because of having to put money in the property. Yeah, it depends. I mean, that's like the nice way. That's like the like the killing it way. Is find the property that's distressed. The whole 9 yards. Fix it up, get some sweat equity. Rent it out. Yeah, it's great for sure. But it depends. If you're also in a growing area, you'd be surprised how fast the house can appreciate in a year as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this house is already 2% extra equity since we bought it, which is only like 5-6 months. So it could definitely add up. And this is for cheaper house for sure. And says, of course, she never paid it. Ah, damn. Don Kim says it was Joe Schmo from Zillow. He's always around. You always got to watch out for Joe Schmo. I don't like them. And I hate to say it, but most realtors, that's why I kind of go hard, kind of against it. But damn, Leanne, 200,000? That's insane. Oh my God, did I catch up? Holy crap. Looks like everybody's going to sleep, baby. We actually caught up. That's insane. We actually caught up. Let's go. Oh yeah. What the hell kind of side conversations going on here with Phil and Joe? What's happening here? Muzzle says, I've had one Kohl's credit card in 2019. 4 others are all within the last year. Amex Gold, Saver One, Chase Amazon Prime, Robinhood Gold. Really? Okay, so you've had credit for a little bit. That's so odd. It's really so odd that they would deny you for the Freedom Unlimited, especially since you have a Chase card. That's kind of crazy. Because even then, like my brother-in-law, most recent example, like, like credit for a year after getting capital unsecured, and then he was able to get the Freedom Unlimited and the Ink and then the Sapphire Preferred. So once he was in with Chase, he really was in. But you already have the Amazon Prime, but they must not feel as well about it. That's kind of crazy. Jordan says, I'm less than 1 year with Chase, but the business card seems like I'm capped at 2 inks. It really does feel like 2 inks is the thing. I hate to admit, I don't like to, admit that, times are, a little tough in that way, even though it'll probably come back in the future, but it really does seem like 2. It really does seem like 2 is where it's at right now. Hey, man. Gotta make hay while the sun's shining. That's what I'm saying. Philma says the pool at the Roosevelt was on the roof. I don't remember anyone saying they used it. That's crazy. I can't believe we didn't I would have loved to just gone up there and done a video, like quick little, what's going on. But what the heck? Wow, I had no idea. Also, I was through 5K Chase Total checking account. Let a couple got a direct deposit go through, 300 bonus. Hell yeah. And then Jordan High Business was 5 calls to recon and no luck. Damn, you actually went really hard, Jordan. Harder than harder than last time for sure. From the 3 to 5. That's crazy. That's crazy. And we did it, boys. We're all caught up. And actually, perfect timing, right? For 11 p.m. I think it might be time to go to bed. What do you guys think? Got 74 people in here. Are we ready to go to bed? Want me to put you to sleep? I'll just keep talking. No, just kidding. But yeah, I think we could probably go out on here. We caught up. We said our piece on welcome offers. We talked about a bunch of different things. We talked about prepaying insurance. Did I mention that? Yeah, car insurance I thought about. Health insurance premiums, prepay that. Prepay utilities, your internet, school fees, property management, HOA appraisals, property, all these different things. Pay your rent. I looked up one because I actually asked ChatGPT. I was like, give me all the unique ways that someone could hit a welcome offer. And there was only one that it said that I didn't write down already. And I didn't even think about it, but it says fund a 529 education plan. And it says some will allow for credit card funding, like via third party. And I was like, what the hell? I don't even know. I don't know what the deal is, but it wrote that down. So I was like, all right, maybe that's a thing. But the 529 for your kids and stuff. But if it says third party apps, I probably wouldn't even mess with that. But anyway. Oh my God, what happened? Mackie, my Play 2 is IHG premiered. Amazon got denied for unreal. So maybe Amazon, they don't care. Maybe they don't care about the Amazon card. Interesting. Oh, but business checking, personal checking was still denied 740 score. That's why I made a meeting with branch managers for it. Yeah, I hear you. It's insane. Phil says more calls than I make in a year. But Muscles go to bed harder than last time. Greg Doucette, baby, you heard it. Mr. Muscles knew it. Jordan rules. Hope everyone has a good night. Yes. So everyone, have a good night. Keep traveling. Keep having fun. Thank you for hanging out with me for this, eventual late night, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Hope it was valuable. I hope it was entertaining in some way. I hope it was beneficial in some way. And once again, Tom G. Appreciate it, Tom G. George for the super chat as well. and admire as well for that. So take care, everybody. Enjoy, be safe, and have a lot of fun. Have a lot of good laughs tomorrow for Easter. That's right. Happy Easter. Have a lot of good laughs, a lot of good food. Enjoy.